Hey everybody, back at it again. It is Monday and we have until Saturday, and that's Halloween, what I've heard, the most sacred day for these witches and warlocks and evil things going on. So I think, this next Saturday that us talking about how to defend ourselves and just be positive, going in the right direction with um, this ugly type of holiday that we have been participating in. And being able to just defend ourselves, because honestly, there is a lot out there. Hi, Kim. And so, yeah, it's interesting times. And then, through Thanksgiving and then to Christmas, which is actually Christ's conception. And we're going to go through that as far as, what it is in the Bible. Hey, Stacy. And so, we've got a lot to really learn about and stuff. Sorry guys, I had some coffee and now I'm like, eee. I shouldn't have drank it, but I did. No. Anyway, I got some charts for this chapter that we're going through, chapter 48, Ezekiel, and I wasn't able to download them, but I'm gonna have to show you off of my email. So I hope that it's gonna be big enough so where you can see it. But there's the website that you can go directly to, and you can find it. Okay. So, but I'll just be showing you, and then you can go, hopefully you can download it, and then you can put it in with your notes and put it in your Bible so that you can always look at it and refresh yourself. I have so many notes everywhere. I need to be more organized, but oh my gosh. And I really thought that was in the companion Bible, but other people were looking too. They couldn't find it, so I don't know. It's not weird. I mean, I was really thought for sure it was in there. It's kind of, what do they call that? It's that thing where everybody says, oh, do you remember this, Bernstein Bear? Is it Bernstein or Bernstein, or you know what I mean? The Mandela effect. I don't know. Or it could just be me forgetting. So, let's see what time it is. It is almost 4 o'clock. So let's get going on this. Tomorrow we'll be starting on Daniel. The first 6 chapters of Daniel is history, but it is so good to understand the history and to see God's blessings in everything that he does. So it's really good. Then the next 7 to 12 are all prophetic and the things that are coming to pass soon. Hi, Eagle. So we are on chapter 48. This one is basically, and I lost my marker. This one is where, okay, before we saw more of the inheritance, but this is now the land allotments of where the 12 tribes will be, and more, more of an understanding how the temple's going to be set up and things like that. So here we go. chapter 48, verse 1. Let's start out. This is on the north side. So it's like the north and the south. So you have 7 of the tribes who are on the north side, and then you have 5 that are on the south side. So just to begin. Now these are the names of the tribes. From the north end to the coast of the way of Hethlon, as one goeth to Hamath, Hazarmon, the border of Damascus, northward to the coast of Hamath, for these are his sides, east and west, a portion for Dan. So it's from the east west and there's north south, so they expand out on this way from the east west going up. And by the border of Dan from the east side unto the west side, a portion for Asher. Okay, so Dan is at the very end of the north side. And there's a little bit more that goes into this. And you look at Leah and Rebecca. And then they had concubines who had the rest of the 12 tribes. And we'll go through that a little bit, but you will see that the concubine children are the ones who are set out further. And there's only one of them is on the south end, and they're the furthest apart. And then you have the north end, where I think that there's like 4 of them. But it's interesting how that is set up. But it goes to the wives and then to the concubines. Let's see. I'm mine for knowledge. So here we go. And by the border of Asher from the east side, even unto the west side, a portion of Naphtali. I've been saying that wrong. I think I've been saying Naphtali, but it's Naphtali. Naphtali. And by the border of Naphtali, from the east side unto the west side, a portion of Manasseh. Now, Manasseh is the biggest tribe. And remember, Jacob gets double portion. Ephraim and Manasseh get double portion because they're the biggest. They need the room. And by the border of Manasseh, from the east side unto the west side, a portion for Ephraim. So you have Dan, the furthest one out. Then you have Asher, then Naphtali, then Manasseh, Ephraim, Reuben, and Judah. And by the border of Ephraim, from the east side, even into the west side, a portion for Reuben. So they're side by side by side. By the border of Reuben, from the east side unto the west side, a portion for Judah. So Judah is right in front, right in front of, the outer walls for the temple, for the city itself. And by the border of Judah, from the east side unto the west side, shall be the offering which ye shall offer of 25,000 reeds in breadth and in length, as one of the other parts from the east side unto the west side. And the sanctuary shall be in the midst of it. So I'm just going to show you. And I hope you guys can see it. And I want to thank Deb for sending this to me. I got this. Okay, so here, let's just start with the temple. Here you have the temple area, and beside it is for the Zadok. This is where they'll be living. Then you have the Levites. This is where their portion is. Then you have the city right here, and then the princess area. But let's see. it doesn't, okay, the temple square is 1 square mile. So the temple itself is like 1 square mile around. Um, and it's like 50 miles across. So see how large that is going to be? So it's 50 miles this way and 50 miles that way. It's going to be really big. Try to get some more down here. Dang, I drank too much coffee. Okay, and then like the food for growing each side is like 20 miles wide. The city itself is like 10 miles, but then you have the outer portion with all the food and stuff that's going to be grown, so it's all divided up. Now the tribal arrangements, let's see. Let's go over here. This is how it was set up with Joshua on this side. And it's kind of the same way, but it'll be blocks. But this is how they were situated. And the Mediterranean Sea right here. And the handmaid, the like the concubines and things like that right here in this area. And my thought is this is for like the children that are mixed, that get a portion within Israel. Now, let's see. Wish I can expand this a little bit more. So, right in the middle here is where the temple and the city are going to be. Dan, this is the north and this is the south. So Dan will be up here, and this is Bilhah. This was with Rachel. Okay, so they had like the concubines. Then you have Asher, and then you have Naphtali, and that was with Bilhah. Asher is with Zilpah. Now, with the wives themselves, you have Manasseh and Ephraim. That was from Rachel. Then Reuben was from Leah, and Judah was from Leah. Then you have the city and the prince's station on this side and this side. Then you have Benjamin, which is, this is like where the city is actually at right there. So they're right at the border of, the city town. So there's Benjamin, that was Rachel. Then you have Simeon, which was Leah. Then you have Issachar, Leah, Zebulon, which is Leah. Then you have Gad, which was Leah's concubine, Zillah. I don't know how to say that, but it's just interesting that the concubine children were, being part of the whole Israel, being, left on the outer side, but they all have responsibilities and duties to do during this time. Let's see. I can't get all of this at once. It's too big. But just to show you, this is the tribal regionization of how they're set up. So under the political is Dan, Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, Ephraim, Reuben, and Judah. So they handle more of the political stuff. And what they'll be doing in the millennium. Here's the spiritual side is Dan, Asher, Naphtali, Joseph, Reuben, and Judah. So, you know, there is going to be order in there. And the Zadok are basically the judges. But, you know, within each tribe, you're going to have to need some sort of order and structure. Within the city itself, you have Benjamin, Simeon, Issachar, Zebulun, Gad, and in the temple, Levi, Benjamin, Simeon, Issachar, Zebulun, and Gad. And, you know, is that the 144,000? I don't think so. I think that these are more within the tribes that will be helping with the kingdom, but their order in which they're going to be working in okay, so let's get this. Now this is what it will be in from the borders. So Dot Levites are the right side, perhaps. Yeah. So here we are. This is for the chart in Ezekiel. So we have Dan there. We have Asher and Naphtali, and they're marked off, you know, like these are the concubine children. Then you have Manasseh and Ephraim, and they have, you know, a bigger portion. They have a double portion because they have more people in it. Then you have Reuben and Judah. See, Judah is right at that area before you get to the temple. Then you have Benjamin on the other side, Simeon, Issachar, Zebulun, and Gad. And you have the Dead Sea here. We're reading in like previous chapters, some of this area is going to be turned into salt, the marshy areas and things like that to heal. And then you have the sea right here. So as we go on further, you're going to find out that there's gates and places for each tribe to go through. And so that's kind of the setup I wanted you to see, you know, as a visualization. And I'll, in the description, I'll put down the website where you can go to find this. Okay, where did I end? Okay, I'm just going to start on verse 8 again. And by the border of Judah, we saw it's like right up next to the outer layer, outer part. They'll be right close up. From the east side unto the west side shall be the offering which ye shall offer of 25,000 reeds in breadth and in length, as one of the other parts, from the east side unto the west. So each side. You know, this is where they're going to set up the offering, and the sanctuary shall be in the midst of it. So it is Judah. Okay. Just try to visualize that. It's like right in front, and they'll be coming in, doing the offering. 9, the oblation that ye shall offer unto the Lord shall be of 25,000 in length and of 10,000 in breadth. So that's going to be a pretty big size, but the city, the whole setup, you know, the temple, you know, then you have the Zadok, and it's going to be big. And for them, even for the priest, shall be this holy oblation toward the north. So the north where we saw Judah. Judah's on the north. So on that side, that's also where the temple side is. Toward the north, 5,020,000 in length, and toward the west, 1,000 in breadth, and toward the east, 10,000 in breadth, and toward the south, 5,020,000 in length. So it's like a cube of all these offerings. It could be people standing there giving their love. I still don't know, as far as that goes. Let's see. City left. Zadok will go out to judge. Yeah. But within the tribes, you're going to need to have some sort of law, people underneath. So, not like police or anything like that, but leaders within the tribes. Okay. And for them, even for the British, shall this be holy oblation toward the north, 5,020,000 in length, and toward the west, 1,000 in breadth, and toward the east, 1,000 in breadth, and toward the south, and 20,000 in length. And the sanctuary of the Lord shall be in the midst. So you're talking more about the Zadok area. It shall be for the priest. This is the ordinance, and this is for I'll just read this and then I'll explain it. It shall be for the priests that are sanctified of the sons of Zadok, which have kept my charge, didn't waver when the Antichrist comes here, weren't fooled. They stayed in the field working, which went not astray when the children of Israel went astray, as the Levites went astray. So the 144,000 are going to go astray and take all the rest of the people with them. But they will repent and come back. And this oblation of the land that is offered shall be unto them a thing most holy by the border of the Levites. So, let's see. So, the Zadok are right here around the temple, on either side. Then you have the Levites in their portion. So, it'll be between the border and that area, the border of the Zadok and the Levites. And over against the border of the priests, the Levites shall have 5,020,000 in length and 10,000 in breadth. All the length shall be 5,020,000 and the breadth 10,000. So they get, like in the olden times, the priests weren't expected to work. They had their own duties to do, and the people of Israel, the offerings and things like that were given to them, so they could concentrate more on the priestly things that needed to be done. Just gathering wood and doing all that kind of stuff. So, and then they had different types of people in with the Levites doing different tasks. And then you'd have the head priest who went in, and they'd have a bell or something on them in case they died in there. It was really dangerous in case they weren't accepting to God. That happened a couple times, and it's like, ring your bell. And, if they didn't, they'd have to drag them out. I'm telling you. Let's see. Let's see. Good to be here. Love Abba's word. Taught chapter by chapter, verse by verse. Now that is one way to identify a good church or a bad church. If you're being taught, it's verse by verse, or chapter by chapter, verse by verse, and with a good explanation, like you would in any type of classroom setting. You know, how long will they be led astray? 144. I like through the 5 months too, and they, as the 7,000 are being brought up and they hear this and break that spell, so it's like from the last 2.5 months. So as they get delivered up, then whoever hears that at that point will be repenting. And this is really what is making Satan very, very upset. The ships of Chittim, and we'll go through that in Daniel, but it really, really angers him so much. There's nothing he can do, but people will be repenting. And I believe, like, America itself will be like, wow, we really messed up, and this is why you have the Ham and Gog war, where they're going to come over seeing us as a spoil, but we're not. But God puts that into their head so he can like show them, look, there is a God, and he's going to like pour out his vengeance right at all one time. Boom. All right, let's see if there's any more. Let's see. Is this just in your opinion, or are you a professor? I'm not a professor. It is just me. Okay. Verse 14. And they shall not sell of it, neither exchange nor alienate the first fruits of the land, for it is holy unto the Lord. So, like we were talking about through all this, basically what is theirs is theirs. You can't sell it. You can't sell your land. Nobody can take it from you. So this is what it is. This is your inheritance. And the 5,000 that are left in the breadth over against the 25,000 shall be a profane place for the city, for dwelling, and the suburbs. So not profane. I guess these are the ones that are liable to die. That you will either have an immortal body, which the 7,000 will have, or you'll have a mortal soul, which is liable to die. They were fooled and they repented, and now they're working towards learning the discipline to get into the eternity. So it's basically a common place for people to go. And the city shall be in the midst thereof. So as we saw the layout, they're like on this, they're in the middle part. They are on the south side. Judah is on the north side. So they'll be right up next to the city. 16, and these shall be the measures thereof. So we're going on the north side now. The north side 4,500, and the south side 4,500, and on the east side 4,500, and the west side 405,000. So it's all equally measured. In the suburbs of the city, we're talking about the city area now, shall be toward the north 250, and toward the south 250, and toward the east 250, and toward the west 250. So let me see if I got a good picture of this. Hold on. Well, once we went through this before, hope you can see that. This is where the city is, right there, that little spot, and the place to grow food and things like that. And then you have Benjamin right here. So this right there is in the city area a common place. And then we have Judah on the other side. But we're going to go through the gates and stuff so that you have a little better understanding and how they're going to get around. Because, you know, if you live out in Dan's lot, that's a long way to come in, you know what I mean? All right, and the residue in length over against the oblation of the holy portion shall be 10,000 eastward and 10,000 westward, and it shall be over against the oblation of the holy portion, so it's right there in front. And the increase thereof shall be for food unto them that serve the city. So there's going to be people working from different tribes in that city area to help basically everyone that goes in there. So, well, they have shops and things like that. There are things that you can obtain in there. And as we read before, there's equal measure. You cannot, nobody's going to rip off anybody or anything like that. So people from different tribes will be in there running it for everyone else to come in. So they're the ones who get that food that is on both sides for their food, because they're unable to really work on their allotment and growing their food and things like that. So in a way, they're kind of like the 144,000 that, get a portion for themselves of food and things like that. And they that serve the city shall serve it out of all the tribes of Israel. So you're going to have a select few, serving the city. You'll have order there. Nobody is going to rip anybody off. And it's a common place for everyone to go. Now, as far as the 7,000, they are not to go to any dead person except for mother, father, brother, sister, things like that. But I think that's basically for the Gulf area itself. It's the only thing that I can think of as far as the Zadok coming in there. They may, but the thing is too, they're judges, so they have to be able to walk around and see people. So they get like the first fruits of everything. So of the food and things like that. So it's not like they're going to be buying stuff and things like that in there, but it could also be part of the teaching area. It'll be interesting. I know when I saw myself coming out from like my home area, I didn't walk out too far, but it was a very nice lawn, manicured, and I sat on this white stone, and the people were coming up to me to teach, and there was a multitude of them. So, and that's how every Zadok will be teaching people. So, I'm just like, with people, because everybody's going to need to be taught. So just wondering like how it would be set up in a spiritual sense and how they would get there. That's all I'm saying, is like it'll be kind of like a school university, from grade school to high school to adult, and then like continuing education type thing. So, but I saw that the Zadok were very close, and, outside of the area, and they were teaching. And I actually went into one of the tribes because I was telling you about Marla, and she helped me. And so I went to her house. So obviously we can go into the tribes and stuff. I just answered my own question. Milk, Mike, to the meat, milk. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, it sounds kind of boring, but it really isn't. It's it's a lot of work. And that's right now, we're preparing for what's coming. Um, but you got to work at it. It's just not given to you. So if you expect to get through this without worshiping the false Messiah, you're going to have to study. You're going to have to keep going over this until you've absorbed it. And that's how it is in the spiritual world too. You're going to have to work at it. It's nothing is given to you. You earned it. Nothing is ever given to you, and God doesn't say, I like you better or this. He goes by your works and what you've done. Okay, 20. All the oblation shall be 20, or to be 5 and 20,000 by 5 and 20,000. Ye shall offer the holy oblation foursquare with the possession of the city. So, just talking about the sides, the growth, And the residue shall be for the prince on one side and on the other of the holy oblation, and of the possession of the city over against the 5 and 20,000 of the oblation toward the east border and west border, westward over against the 5 and 20,000 toward the west border over against the portion for the priest, and it shall be the holy oblation in the sanctuary of the house, shall be in the midst of it. So we saw the chart. The city is right in the middle, and then you have the growing places, and then you have the prince portion on this side and prince portion on that side. That's all it's saying. Moreover, from the possession of the Levites and from the possession of the city, being in the midst of that, which is the princes between the border of Judah and the border of Benjamin, shall be for the prince. So it's on each side. We've seen many charts on that. As for the rest of the tribes, from east side unto west side, Benjamin shall have a portion. It starts out with Benjamin. He's right in front, and now we're going down, okay? We were going up before, now we're going down. Okay. And by the border of Benjamin, so this is next, from the east side unto the west, so it's like this, measuring out. Simeon shall have a portion. So you got Benjamin, Simeon. And by the border of Simeon, from the east side unto the west side, Issachar. So here we go. And by the border of Issachar, from the east side unto the west side, Zebulun. Okay. And by the border of Zebulun, from the east side unto the west side, Gad. So you've got the 5 tribes there. The 4 of them are from the wives, and the last one is from the concubine. And by the border of Gad at the south side, at the south side southward, the border shall be even Tamar unto the waters of strife, and Kadesh, and to the river toward the great sea. This is the land which ye shall divide by lot unto the tribes of Israel for an inheritance, and these are their portions, saith the Lord. And these are the goings out of the city. So this one is very interesting. On the north side, so you got up here, the north side, and these tribes going up, 4,500 measures. And the gates of the city shall be after the names of the tribes of Israel. So everything's going to have its order, but there's going to be gates where tribes are selected to go through. Okay, shall be after the names of the tribes of Israel, 3 gates northward. So 1, 2, 3 from this way. This is from all the way up from Dan, all the way down, and how they get into the city. 3 gates northward, 1 gate of Reuben, 1 gate of Judah, and 1 gate of Levi. And at the east side, 4,503 gates, and 1 gate of Joseph, 1 gate of Benjamin, 1 gate of Dan. So you're gonna have different areas where they're going to be coming in, because I could just imagine if everybody's trying to come in at one time, but they all have their order. This is how they'll be coming in or going out. And 1 gate of Joseph, 1 gate of Benjamin, 1 gate of Dan. All right, 33. And at the south side, 400 and 500 measures, and 3 gates on 1 gate of Simeon, 1 gate of Issachar, 1 gate of Zebulun. At the west side, 4,500 with their 3 gates. So you notice they had 3 gates on all sides. 1 gate of Gad, and 1 gate of Asher, 1 gate of Naphtali. It was round about 18,000 measures. And the name of the city from that day shall be, the Lord is there. And in Hebrew, it means Yahweh Shema. So this is in eternity, we're not going to have this temple. It's going to be that cube coming down, setting down, and the tribes will be layered, so on floors, instead of being out, amongst the land. They'll be all under one roof, basically. So basically, there's just so much more that you can learn about it, and just kind of basically going over it. Try not to confuse, but it really, the visualization and just understanding that there is law and order there. Nobody can, take your things, taxes, some tax man coming to take all your stuff away and stuff like that. It's just not going to be like that. Yahweh Shema, the full Godhead will be there. Yeah. And when he comes in, we're going to have over by the altar where Yahweh himself. But of course, he's just going to be coming down and seeing people, seeing his people, but you're not really going to be able to see him if you're like 144,000 or the people in the tribes. But you will see his glory, that Shekinah glory that comes out from the temple area, and it just bathes the world. You get that just such a peaceful, nice feeling that, he is with us, and then we'll have Yeshua, and there's just so much to look forward to. As far as I was thinking, where will the gulf be set up? People coming out. I kind of think, and I'm not for sure, but it's over by the Mediterranean Sea, or maybe it's over by the Dead Sea, I don't know. but it is close, because when I walked out to go get my sister, it was close, but it wasn't within the gated areas. It was without, and it wasn't too far. I'm just gonna look at this real quick and just see. It's north, south, east, west. I don't know. This, I'm just saying this, not for totally sure, but like right here, you know, because it is close, but then people will be coming in through this area and out. If it's over by the Dead Sea, that might be, this is where Christ enters in through this area, and it's kind of locked away for the week, and then it's set, then the gates are opened for worship, and then it closes that evening. I don't know. I have just really been thinking about this. Where could it be? But it was very close. It was close. But it can't be within the tribes, because they're coming out of the Gulf. I mean, it's from all tribes. So that's it. That's what I was thinking. And sea being for the sea of people. Now the full Godhead will be there at the end of the millennium. And that's why it says, you know, God lives here. So in eternity, he will be with us. The city itself, everything is coming down with God. So he'll just be with us. There's no need for a temple, nothing like that, because he's with us. And I was thinking, you know, this dispensation, this flesh age, is basically just a testing ground. And it's going to be wiped from our memories, not even like a dream. And it does say in, like, you know, time just goes by so quickly. But it's going to be wiped from your memory. I mean, like, this is just my thoughts, because this is, I believe, the only way it can happen is when Satan rebelled, you know, we would remember that, especially when we get into our spiritual bodies. So that part where people started rebelling, that would have to be wiped out, especially if it's like one of your family members. So when the children, when the sons of God, which we are all sons of God, when the children all sing as one, that's where it will begin again. And this dispensation, all the way up to the great white throne judgment, will all be gone, and will begin again at that time, when all the children sing as one, and we won't even remember. So the people that went with Satan, we won't even remember them. But it is to get out all evil rudiment. And, you know, that is like people, just saying, people have their own personalities. The Holy Spirit himself works within you to mold you into someone that can be workable, pliable, to work in the kingdom. But if people don't want anything to do with that, they're going to turn rotten. They're not going to have that influence. And in the first earth age, you know, Satan was like, I'm so much better than you, God. I am going to go higher. And above you and things like that. And people followed that. So, all those people are going to just be gone. And anything that would be offensive, evil spirits, everything like that gone. So, and then we have the tree for healing and medicine. We talked about that. That is to get any sorts of boredom or sadness or anything like that. So you take it each month, and you just feel just like there's nothing wrong. The spiritual world is a lot different than this flesh age. And the tree of life, that's right. The wrong side of the Euphrates River. That could be. But I saw that very, very close. So, I mean, it's like right outside, just walking down a little bit to that Gulf area. When I saw the Gulf area, it looked like a fog bank, like walking into this fog bank. And it's, as you go out further, it gets darker and kind of ashy, weird. But like for the 7,000, your family members, if they want to get out, will be in front, waiting for you. They'll just somehow know that you're there to help them out. And like with me, my sister wasn't quite ready yet. I needed to talk to her, get her ready to come out. So she took me back to her cottage, and there were like these benches that we sat on. I sat on one side and then like looking at her, and she was sitting on another bench. And it seemed like it just went so fast. Like I was just talking to her, then we went into her house, and she offered me her bread, and I was like, well, I have bread. She's like, she looked sad that I didn't take her bread. So I'm like, yeah. So when she was ready, when the time was up, we knew it's like, we gotta go now and get out of here. And we just walked out. And I had to like stay right there in that area under a tree, just kind of waiting. Marla came in, and she was like, here you go. She's like, gave me food and water and stuff like that. Talked to me a little bit. But, what we will do to save our loved ones. I don't know if she made it into the eternity. I really don't know. I didn't see her, but I didn't see a lot of the eternity. I think if God would have like allowed me to remember more, but I think it's to the Holy Spirit is to like give you the thoughts of how it's going to be, and learning from the Word of God. See, are people coming out of the Gulf now? No, or only after and during the millennium? It's only during the millennium they can get out. Right now they can't get out. It's locked. There's a great divide. But those who haven't really transgressed a lot, there's levels of it. And those that are up in front are able to look up, and there's these little windows that they can look out and actually see the temple and everything right there, the lawn, everything, but they cannot get out. So in the millennium, when everything comes down, this Gulf area will be opened, so they can just walk out. But I think that they need, like guidance, things like that. That's why you have the 144,000 getting people out, because it is like a dream state in there. And there's people that have been in there for a long time. So, you know, they just might be accepting. There's people that will go in there that will not want to come out. Like my mom's three sons. You know, my uncle, which is one of the 144,000, told me that he went in there several times trying to get them to come out. And they said, well, one of them, I think we can, but the other two, one was definitely adamant that wasn't going to come out. But they did not do the unforgivable sin. And they didn't know the truth, so they could have come out. But, you know, some people are just stubborn. So dealing with still how people, their personalities, their stubbornness, their stiff-necked, and only those who are coming out are willing, you know, kind of like how you are now, willing to learn and grow. So there still, you know, will be a lot of people that want to stay in there, and then you'll have those just waiting for judgment. That's it. There's nothing. Do you believe the 3 days of darkness are soon? That's that situation. I think that's like the fifth trumpet, when the pit is opened up. That won't happen until after the American Civil War, or this revolution type thing coming, which happens right after the Pacific Northwest earthquake. You'll first see that earthquake, and then after that you will see the dollar drop, and just everybody understands where America is, and then you'll see riots like never before, and there's just that one thing just tips it off, and there we go into war. But it doesn't last long. It's just fighting. And it isn't really the government, it's like people within people clashing. So my thought is, you know, like these people being sent into our country now, that have been flowing in, I think the government has like said, hey, you know, when this war begins, you know, you need to fight on our side. Because I didn't see tanks and things like that. It was more just like the patriots, like fighting with guns and things like that in different areas. So, you know, they'll all have to fight in one or two or three areas at a time. So let's see, they still might once they see us. Yeah, I hope so. I hope that they do. You know, I don't want to see anybody in there at all, you know, but it is really up to that person. Can you say anything? Oh, dang it. This fades so fast. About God, or allowing targeting by the system military, God's own. Well, see, I've been stalked and followed since I don't even remember how long. I mean, the first time that I saw that it was very obvious is when I was about 22. And I've told this story before, but I was telling my friend Bert, I said, Bert, watch this. I am being stalked and followed. And he was like, no, you're not. Why would anybody follow you? I'm like, I don't know. But we were in this mall. It was right across the street from where we worked. And I said, watch. I'm going to walk out the mall, and you just watch and see what happens. And he's like, he was standing up on the above level and looking down. So it was like the perfect place to watch. So I walked down the stairs and I was going to go through the front entrance out, whatever. And I decided I'm going to mess them up a little bit. And I took a quick right and went out the side door. Well, Bird is sitting there. He's got all this food and stuff. And he's like, ugh, nothing's going to happen. Next thing he knows is he sees like all these men having like earpieces and dressed up and things like that, going, where'd she go? Where'd she go? And they're looking all over the place. Well, I had crossed the street and got into where I was working. And he was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. So he walks down the stairs and he like goes in front. He sees some of these men get into this blue car, like a sedan that was parked right in the front, like along the street. And they got in and they just circled around and around and around. And when he came back to me, he's like, what did you do? And I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea why I'm being followed and stalked like this. And he's like, are you like in the mafia or something? Like, no. So this has been going on. And for me, it's going to really escalate at the time when the Antichrist is here. And they're going to be right on my back, just everywhere I go. I won't be able to like ditch them. They'll know where I'm at. And so it'll be like nice when I am delivered up, because I'll actually get them off my back. But then, being delivered up to Satan, which is no big deal, nothing to fear. And then I'll be like loosed of them after I'm delivered up. So their purpose, I don't know why they're doing it. With the elect coming up, the election. Yeah. But you'll see skirmishes and things like that. Not the real war until after the earthquake. And that's when everybody's eyes are open to the fact that there really isn't any kind of economy. It's been held up, manipulated, and it just falls apart. Because even before then, you're going to have the storms and stuff like that coming in. You'll see that last one that is like big with a lot of destruction. And it's like 5 or so days after that, the Pacific Northwest earthquake. I mean, it's devastating. So, with all these natural disasters coming, it's just, there's just no money to help. When they say 10 rebelled, was it like a war battle or just more words? When they say 10 rebelled, when they rebelled. Let's see, 10 rebelled, was it like a war battle? Oh, when Satan rebelled, that he just got pride within himself in the first earth age, and he was made with a lot of power, and he had it all, and he just said, I'm better. He wanted to sit in the mercy seat, and the mercy seat was for him to guard. And so he went off and started doing his own religion, having people follow him. And that's just what happened. And then there was a big war. The 7,000, along with all the remnant, fought against it. And that's when the catapult happened, where God had to destroy everything and start over. And that's where Genesis begins. This flesh age as a test. Everybody has to make the choice one way or the other, who you're going to worship. There is no in between. So it's pretty serious, And this is why the Ham and Gog war, to be like, hey, there is a God, and it's really going to wake up all these people who just aren't just don't think that there's a God. And there's that big, big army, you know. It's the good thing is we don't have to fight in it. It is all God. See, Biden talked about the dark winter, so did Prince. Yeah. All that is like happening all over again. But just in the flesh to be tested. That's all it is. It happened in the first earth age. It's going to happen now. And it's going to be gotten rid of in the great white throne judgment. And we don't have to worry about it anymore. All those people who tend to, you know, have just negative personality and things like that, just unless they come to God and allow the Holy Spirit to fix them, to mold them, then, you know, they're just going to go their own way. So I'm just saying, you know, if you're listening to this now, you do have eyes to hear, see, and ears to hear, and that isn't by your own doings. Okay? I'm telling you, most people do not understand what we're talking about here. So it's very, very serious, and he needs people to do their part. Okay, first horse rider is brilliant white given up. That is the first rider. Riding on the white horse is Satan coming down saying that he is Christ. He's got this cheap crown. He has authority, but it's only over those who are following him. And he has the authority to deliver us up, but he cannot kill us. So, you know, I mean, it is going to be a little tough. When you have the whole world against you, it's going to feel like, but God is going to give you strength. Like Ezekiel, Yah is my strength. So, yep, cheap imitation. So, guys, it's gonna get intense. Okay, so tomorrow we're gonna start on Daniel. The first, like I said before in the beginning, the first 6 chapters are historical, and the 7th through the 12th are prophetic. But the first 6 chapters are very interesting, and you can see God's blessings in them, and how God treats his election. And now unicorn is in the Bible, a little horn. Unicorn is basically like kind of like a cow type thing, you know. It's not like a magical unicorn or anything like that. This is what the new translations and things like that, you know, they change things around and confuse people. So it's good to get like an older King James Bible version. And I know, like, even like the King James version of the companion Bible that I have, it is by Bollinger, but there are things in there that just, yeah. And the Holy Spirit will really lead you and say, hey, there's something wrong with that. Look into it further. The rhino, that's right. I'm like, oh, what is that thing called? So, yeah. So, guys, we're going to be back tomorrow. Be ready. Read the first chapter, first or second chapter, depending on how fast we'll get through it. But we'll go over the history and just get a good idea of where they're at. You know, what is this setting? So you can really kind of see, you know, God's deliverance. And what, you know, even though Daniel and the boys were in this setting, Babylon, like we're going into, they were completely protected. Even in the furnace. Protected. Didn't even smell like smoke. Look up Potomly. I'll have to do that. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you go. I will see you tomorrow. Stay safe and don't get sick.